Hello, Mr. Gerber.
Hello,
Welcome.
Carlos. How are you?
I'm doing great, and how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are things in Denmark?
Oh, it's a sunny day, so perfect. And in California?
Yes, it's beautiful. I hope you can see that. This is my little work center.
Yeah.
This is where I write all my books. This is where I ponder great ideas. And this is where I sit there and call myself stupid from time to time as I ponder great ideas and realize that they're bigger than all the rest of us combined.
Wow. It's an honor to have you here, Mr. Gerber.
Well, thank you, Klaus.
Now, you are the author of the E-Myth Revisited, and the founder of E-Myth Worldwide, and the founder of In the Dreaming Room. Could you tell me what is the E-Myth?
Well, the E-Myth is the entrepreneurial myth. You have to understand we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the E-Myth this year. In fact, it was first published in 1986, and its subtitle was Why Most Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It. And it was built upon a premise, and that was the premise that was built upon my understanding, having worked intimately with small businesses, professional firms, unprofessional firms, commercial firms, high tech, low tech, no tech, health providers, legal providers, financial providers, and so forth, that in fact there was something seriously missing in almost every company that I began to work with. And the something that was seriously missing in every one of those companies, despite what just about every single one of those owners would tell you, is the entrepreneur. There was no entrepreneur. There was no true creator inside of that company. There was what I came to call a technician suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure. And what I mean is that most people start a business with a fatal assumption. And the fatal assumption is that because they understand how to do the work, before they understand how to do the work of cardiology or the work of chiropractic or the work of optometry or the work of graphic design or the work of carpentry, because they understand how to do that work, they understand how to build a profoundly successful business that does that work. And it isn't true. And in fact, it accounts for all business failure everywhere on the face of this earth. And most small businesses do fail. And if they don't fail outright, they fail absolutely to give the founder the true joy and benefits that can come from creating a spectacularly performing company. And so the E-Myth, Why Most Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It, is about just that. How to transform a broken business, that is a business that doesn't work, the owner does instead, what I call doing it, how to convert that kind of a business, that kind of a practice into a stunningly successful business. And we have worked, Klaus, with over 70,000 business, professional firms, you name it, clients over the past 35 years, delivering a very straightforward message to them. And the E-Myth message, the Michael Gerber message, is very, very simple, and it's universal. It's working in 145 countries. It's providing an immense transformation of small business worldwide. The simple message is, go to work on your company, not in your company, if you ever hope to transform your company to work for you rather than because of you. And when you tell that message to the practitioners of healthcare or wellness in your country, Klaus, and bring them to understand the remarkable difference between being a true entrepreneur and being a technician suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure, you will also demonstrate what we have demonstrated throughout the world, that you can transform their practices into something significantly bigger, grander, greater, and more effective, most importantly, than anything they'd ever done before. not by working in it, but by working on it. And to work on it, you have to awaken the entrepreneur within. And that's where the dreaming room came in.
So you talk about working on it versus working in it. Can you explain working in it? What does that mean? What's the typical problem for, let's say, a chiropractor or a physical therapist?
Well, you know exactly what it is. And you've done it, Klaus. You've been a physical therapist for 10 years, I believe, until you saw the light of day. And does that mean that doing physical therapy is a bad thing? No, of course not. Physical therapists do physical therapy. The only problem is they don't do business. They go to work in their practice delivering the service that, in fact, you know how to deliver. Yeah. And you practice with the client, and you practice with the client, and you practice with the client, delivering the service called physical therapy, or delivering the service called dentistry, or delivering the service called cardiology, and you're busy working in your practice, as opposed to inventing a practice that can deliver physical therapy the very, very best way, in the hands of ordinary physical therapists, not extraordinary physical therapists. And so working in it means all of the things that an entrepreneur focuses his or her attention on are going without attention. The communication that has to occur between the manager and the employees in your practice, the communication that has to go on between the employees in your practice and your patients, the communication that goes on from a marketing perspective, from a sales perspective, from an enrollment perspective, and all the systems that are required to help you to do that splendidly, as opposed to you trying to do that as a physical therapist and discovering that you simply don't have the capacity to wear all the hats that must be worn, the financial hat, the management hat, the leadership hat, the marketing hat, the sales hat, the people development hat, the organizational development hat, the systems development hat. You become overwhelmed by all of that. And so what you simply do is forget about all of that, believing in this fatal nostrum that because you know how to do physical therapy, it's unnecessary for you to do all the rest of that. And your company, your physical therapy company fails because as you get older, Klaus, the more you do the what you do and the how you do it, as you get older, it becomes something you simply can't bear doing anymore. But here's the really tragic thing. Ultimately, you don't have a business you can sell when you simply wear out. You don't have a business that has value in itself when you wear out. And so the true tragedy is that very, very, very few small businesses ever get sold when the owner wears out. They simply shut it down, hoping upon hope that they're going to be able to save enough money between now and then so they can retire. And unfortunately, few of them, especially in this economy, ever do. No. So that's why working on it is so significantly important. And that's why so many doctors, so many physicians, so many dentists, so many chiropractors, so many graphic designers, so many contractors have used the E-Myth to transform the state of their business to the point where they're leaders, not just doers. And when they become leaders, a whole new life opens up to them, Klaus. And that's what you will do when you bring the dreaming room to every single wellness practitioner right there in Denmark, and you'll immediately see it yourself, the transformation of those people, and they will then begin to see the transformation of the work they do.
Now, and the transformation comes with the dreaming room. Could you explain to us, Mr. Gerber, what is the dreaming room?
Well, absolutely. I've been talking about entrepreneurship as opposed to management, as opposed to tactical work, meaning the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician. I talk about in my book, the E-Myth books, and you should have every single one of the people you speak to read a book. Any one of the E-Myth books will do just fine. To read the book, to understand what I'm really speaking about. We're three people, three personalities, Klaus. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a manager, and I'm a technician. Every practitioner you speak to has within inside of herself an entrepreneur, a manager, and a technician. Unfortunately, early on in our lives, we're dissuaded as children from awakening the entrepreneur within us. The entrepreneur is the creator. The entrepreneur is, as Walt Disney calls him, the Imagineer. The Walt Disney is the inventor. The entrepreneur is the creator who, in fact, envisions an extraordinary company like Steve Jobs did at Apple when he and his partner Wozniak, with only $500 in their garage, conceived of a great notion that they were going to bring a personal computer to people who had never yet been able to access one or even understand one. And that was way back when the idea of a personal computer had not even come to IBM's attention. To Apple's point, from that simple startup to today, becoming the most valuable company on earth. Steve Jobs understood the E-Myth. Steve Jobs understood what it means to be an entrepreneur because Steve Jobs was a profoundly effective and creative entrepreneur. And I'm saying that every single person you speak to has an entrepreneur within, and all that has to happen is you have to wake her up. You have to wake them up. And so I built a system to do that. And the system is called the Dreaming Room. And the Dreaming Room, as you well know, being a certified, licensed Michael E. Gerber Dreaming Room facilitator there in Denmark, the Dreaming Room is a 12-week process. Delivered 3 hours a week, 1 session a week, to do one simple thing, to awaken the imagination, to awaken the inspiration, to awaken the entrepreneur in every single person you speak to, so that they can begin to first understand what's missing in this picture, what's missing in their practice, what's missing in their life, what's missing in what they do on behalf of the people in your country, in their community, and why, once they awaken the entrepreneur within, they'll suddenly have and realize why this is so important. Their entrepreneurial dream, their entrepreneurial vision, the entrepreneurial purpose, and their entrepreneurial mission. Great companies are built by entrepreneurs. Failing companies are built by technicians suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure who believe in their assumption that because they know how to do the work of a cardiologist or of a chiropractor or of your work, that they do know how to apply it in a business, and they don't. And it's a disaster. It's a disaster to healthcare. It's a disaster to the people who are suffering for lack of truly inventive and creative services. It's a disaster to everyone who goes to work for himself or herself in his or her own practice. To not learn what it means to awaken the entrepreneur within is like walking around with one leg and not understanding what balance is. Entrepreneurship is the critical ingredient to the transformation of the world. Entrepreneurship underlies every great invention that has ever taken place. It was the entrepreneur within that individual, within Pasteur, within you name it, who invented some great breakthrough. Whether that breakthrough is a product, whether that breakthrough is a system, whether that breakthrough is a methodology, whether that breakthrough is a new perspective on life in the world, on the practice of medicine, on the practice of law, on the practice of accountancy, and so forth and so on, that breakthrough comes to us from the entrepreneur within us. And the entrepreneur within us must have that breakthrough for something new to occur. But that's still not sufficient, because then we need to awaken the manager within. And the manager is the one who practices what I call innovation, quantification, and orchestration, the true business development process for any small business. And you got to understand, I'm talking small. Our work with over 70,000 clients around the world, these are small companies. These are tiny companies. These are companies like the company that you had and owned, Klaus. Yeah. These are very small companies that absolutely begin to see with this epiphany that occurs once they get the understanding of the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician, something absolutely extraordinary occurs. The manager creates a new way of doing what needs to be done in keeping with the vision of the entrepreneur to fundamentally manifest the entrepreneur's vision and dream and purpose and mission in the operation of the company. And then the manager creates a system to do it. And that system then is delegated to the technician. And the technician's role in all of this is to become a master of the system. Understand, in every great company, it says, this is how we do it here. In every small business on the face of this earth, nobody knows how we do it here because everybody does it differently. And so if you were to have 3 psychiatrists in a psychiatric practice, I will absolutely assure you there is no practice. There are simply the way June does it, the way Jerry does it, and the way Dr. Judy does it. And each of them specializes in their own personalized way and are unable to scale their practice because they don't own their practice. They simply work in their practice. So the reality is, and the tragedy is, rather than creating a true company, what most technicians do instead is become self-employed. They create a job for themselves. And the problem is they're working for a lunatic. Themselves, their new boss. And Klaus, you know exactly what I'm talking about because you personally experienced it.
I have. Yeah, Michael, Mr. Gerber. All around the world there's a healthcare and wellness revolution going on. And to join it, you have to experience the dreaming room to be able to participate in this revolution. You cannot do it with one practice, your own job. Thank you, Michael.
Absolutely. Thank you, Klaus. And I hope that every single person who gets to experience this conversation truly understands the validity of it. They have to understand that the E-Myth was just named this year by the Wall Street Journal as the #1 business book of all time.
Yeah.
Think about that. The #1 business book of all time. And so I would ask, how can anybody presume to operate a small business, a medical business, a legal business, an accounting business, any kind of business, without understanding what the E-Myth says? We have literally transformed the lives of millions of people, and we're determined to do that in the Dreaming Room, Klaus, with you and with Dreaming Room facilitators now in 12 countries, and very, very soon to be in every country on the face of this earth by the thousands, because millions of us must learn this very essential lesson, this absolutely critical lesson about going to work on our lives, not in our lives. If we ever hope to transcend our lives and truly become someone other than who we are. That's my mission. My dream is to transform the state of small business and entrepreneurship worldwide. This is an economic development process unlike anything that has ever been done, and it has 40 years in the trenches of experience in every kind of business you can name. to the point where you can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can taste it. It works. You don't have to question whether it works. All you got to do is to make yourself available to it. So Klaus, thank you very much. And please make certain that anybody who has a question, that if you can't answer it, I absolutely will. And I'm making myself accessible to you as you start up your new venture there in Denmark to transform the state of entrepreneurship and small business in the well-care industry where you are right now. A delight. Thank you, Klaus.
Thank you, Mr. Gerber.